Welcome to Movies Are Life. I'm your host, Nathan Chandler. Today I have a returning guest that has joined me in the studio. It's my wife, Whitney.
Yeah, it's your favorite guest, right?
It is. Well, today we are lacing up our ice skates to discuss number 36 on the 50 best rom-coms list and one of your favorite movies, The Cutting Edge.
Yep, I love it. And I am a little worried to have this conversation with you because I just don't think you're going to love it at the same level that I love it. And I don't know if my sixth grade heart can take it.
Toe pick. Is that how you say it?
If you're lame and kind of boring, but toe pick.
Olympic star Doug Dorsey's the best hockey player in America, and he's about to retire. Kate Mosley was America's sweetheart,
Until Hercules here learns how to lock his grip, this will have to do.
and she's got a nickname that rhymes with rich.
What a fish.
For both of them, the Olympics had become a faraway dream
Here, you try.
until someone
Those are figure skates, pal.
set up the ultimate blind date.
Who the hell do you think you are?
I'm a guy who came a long way for lunch.
Please don't let me keep you from the trough.
Enough!
The king of the rink and America's ice queen just became a team.
Don't quit your day job.
Ballpark, how many times do you think you've seen this movie?
Oh, probably not. I mean, I don't know, 12?
12?
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of people have seen this film?
I think if you were born in 1980, probably. That's the year I was born. This came out in what, 92 you said?
92.
92. So I think that it was a very big movie for that time. I remember seeing it in the theater. I remember friends discussing it on the playground. And we all talked about it and like acted out parts from it and said lines from it. So I would assume, but I doubt like that, the next generation down has seen it a lot. So
Yeah,
I don't think it became like a cult classic or anything.
Yeah, when I've talked to people, like, which one are you going to do next? When I say this movie, it's the one movie that, like, people have heard of, but they're like, they can't quite place it.
That's rude.
I can't. I'm not in charge of somebody else's reaction.
Yeah, but they need to go see it. That's very rude.
Well,
Maybe your podcast will make it go on streaming because it's not streaming, is it?
I know, no, it's not. We had to pull out an old DVD copy of this
Or maybe
movie.
when the Olympics come back, it'll stream again.
Yeah, true. About the movie, it's a 1992 American sports romantic comedy film directed by Paul Michael Glaser and written by Tony Gilroy. Okay, so I have to stop here for a second because I don't think you have any idea who Tony Gilroy is, do you?
Nope.
Well, so it blew my mind when I was reading up on this movie because we have actually discussed him on the show before because he wrote and directed Michael Clayton. His name might also sound familiar to a lot of people because he created the super popular Star Wars show Andor that just recently came out. So according to IMDb, The Cutting Edge was his first written by credit. And so I thought it was really interesting that this was
His movie?
his movie. Yeah. And it makes sense. I think at one point the writing is what makes this movie strong, but also it's kind of
The writing is
I
what
think-
makes it strong?
I think the dialogue for sure between the
Yeah.
two,
And their chemistry.
their chemistry.
And their
Yeah. Yeah.
one-liners. So many things make it strong. Actually, the music.
Yeah.
I can't wait to discuss this movie.
Okay. Back to the synopsis. The plot is about a wealthy, spoiled figure skater played by Maura Kelly, who is paired with an injury sidelined ice hockey player played by D.B. Sweeney for Olympic figure skating. Competing at the 1992 Winter Olympics in France, they have a climactic face-off against a Soviet pair. It spawned a film series including a number of sequels. Most of them were made for TV, so tell me if you saw any of these. The second one is The Cutting Edge, Going for Gold.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to make you watch the rest of these.
The Cutting Edge, Chasing the Dream. And then the last installment was, I like this title, Fire and Ice.
Yes. Of course I did.
I can't help but think of Blades of Glory with, I think, aren't they? Isn't the
it's
pair
a
in there
little
called Fire and Ice?
I
Yeah.
think they might have been just mocking it.
Yeah. So why do you love this movie so much?
I really did love their chemistry. I think that as a 12-year-old, the thought of them like kind of having like a banter back and forth was I just thought it was cute. I don't know. I liked the sports element of it. A good sports movie where you're cheering for them and you want them to win and you want them to compete, but it really wasn't even about that. So I got to watch a whole movie that was without, knowing that. And to be honest, my favorite is because of Douglas Dorsey. I just love that. We just talked about that all the time. Douglas Dorsey and Topic. I just love everything about those parts. And the music.
Yeah.
I'd like the songs.
It's kind of funny. This movie doesn't get into the super details of figure skating, really.
No.
Even at one point, Hallie was watching it with us and the scoring system, and she was like, wait, what's the high score here? But I think to its credit, it doesn't go into the...
It didn't really get into what they had to win to get to the next level or any of that. And then, I might be jumping to the end too much, but it's not about if they won. They do everything perfect, and one can only assume that they won gold, but we have absolutely no idea if they won or anything, and it didn't matter. And I always like that part of it too.
Yeah, jumping. I did wonder, did it bother you? They alluded to the empty case so many times. I kind of almost wonder why they didn't end with a shot of the case with the medal in there.
Maybe they didn't win.
Maybe they didn't. I mean, I think it's a good closing shot, but it mentally, they talked about it so much. I kind of even wonder if they had that scene.
It didn't matter then because she found love. Her heart was full. Her case didn't need to be full.
Well,
it didn't matter.
Well, I haven't seen the sequels.
That's a spoiler alert. They find love.
Right.
In a romantic comedy.
Yeah. You could kind of talk. I don't think, if you haven't seen the movie, I don't think our discussion would ruin any kind of aspect of this movie for you.
Well, since it came out in 92, I don't think we have to say that we're having a spoiler alert.
Yeah. So I think you were talking about, you think you saw it in the theater for the first time?
I did see it in the theater. I remember seeing it, and then there's a friend from elementary school named Lauren. We were on the playground. I think we were arguing over something about the movie, and I just really got into an argument with her. I have no idea what it was about, but I was defending some aspect, or maybe even the fact that I got to go see it, because I got to go see lots of movies, and maybe she didn't really believe me. But so yeah, sixth grade on the playground. I know right where we were hanging out on that playground in my brain.
One thing I like about this movie, sometimes a lot of movies take the opposites attract approach, and in this one, I mean, they both have just fiery personalities.
Yeah, they're a lot alike, and I like that about it. But they're they're opposites too. I mean, he's a lot more carefree and nice and
true,
that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think definitely as I alluded to it, their banter with each other, I think it's great.
Yeah. I did catch you laughing at a lot of those parts. So I know you enjoyed yourself.
I did enjoy myself. You just can't this movie is so much cheese. I mean,
oh yeah, well, that's the best part about it.
Yeah, and I know you probably don't know such things. I couldn't, in my looking into it, I was trying to find what the budget was for this movie, and I couldn't find it. I do think the downside to the movie is I like the scenes, but you can tell that they're doing a lot to cover up for their lack of budget. So even when they're at the Olympics, normally you would get, we watched Cool Runnings not too long ago. You saw the whole Olympic Village and all this kind of stuff. They still placed them in this nice
little arena, yeah.
Nice place, little arena. The little crowd shots that they do are very, very tight. You never get a big scope. So, and I do think also the frame rate that they were using on some of the slow-mo shots or skates and stuff like that were really distracting, but
I don't think they'd be distracting back then. I
you
think
don't
it's
think so?
Because it was 92.
Yeah.
We were watching, not on our normal level of getting to watch a movie. So on a high def type of
right.
scene. I think what I really liked about it growing up was that it made ice skating cool. And honestly, I don't think ice skating was cool yet to watch, or at least for me, in the Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't know when it was released in relation to the Olympics, but it was playing in that year time frame or whatever. But I really think that it, like, the way that they dressed, because all I had ever seen was the dorky looking dressing for that, and so like putting them in their cool outfits with the cool music, and he had to fight for that. But I think that really helped. Like, that was a big thing to me.
Yeah.
I was just watching their clothes compared to the like dorky, like the people that lost or fell in the I don't know if it was regionals or what it was, but in the worlds, I guess, before they went to the Olympics. I think just watching those is what you think of as ice skating, and then they were kind of just a different breed.
Yeah.
So.
I think definitely figure skating for the Winter Olympics, and then there's gymnastics for the summer. I think those two always provide probably the most drama. So we can't really speak to how popular figure skating was or whatever. But I was trying to look up when the Tonya Harding incident, like around what time.
It's probably near that time.
Yeah, but
time
like
frame.
I know personally for me, that whole scenario made me probably pay more attention to figure skating than I ever had before.
Yeah. And
so even from that point, even though something like Tonya Harding had happened before, I think even when teammates, quote unquote teammates, like Americans are on the same team, you feel like there's some like drama there, which this movie kind of taps into a little bit.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Well, and she just got to be so uncouth. And that was not a thing for women characters back then.
Right.
Like, she was just so like she just was rude back and snappy, and I liked it. I was all for it.
Yes.
Maybe because I like to be rude and snappy back. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really rude, but I just thought that was funny.
Can you be powerful but bratty in the same time? I think you said at one point during watching this.
She's just a brat.
She's such a brat. Yeah.
She's a brat. I have a fact for you. I bet you don't know the answer to.
Okay.
Do you think that they knew how to skate before the movie, or do you think they skated? What do you think?
Well,
what's your guess?
Well, my guess was because of the camera work and a lot of the cutaways and stuff. I don't think. I mean, who can portray like actual Olympic skaters and portray that? So I feel like they would have to a little bit.
Okay, so here's what I found out.
Okay. When did you do this research?
I don't worry about it. I got real ready for this.
Okay.
Neither one of them knew how to skate prior to, but they learned all about skating, and he did the majority of all of his skating.
Oh, wow.
And she, all through the rehearsals and planning, did all the majority of her skating, but then in the first week of filming, while skating, she broke her leg.
Wow.
And so then they had to use somebody else for a lot of her parts of the skating, but neither one of them attempted the Pamchenko because that was not physically possible. That's what the write-up said. Now, I have absolutely no idea if any of that is true, but it came from IMDb, so that's where I got it.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot that is trying to mask the fact that they're not Olympic skaters. But, I mean, when you're watching it, I mean, regardless, they're doing a lot of stuff on the ice, so that's impressive. So,
oh, yeah. Well, especially because she broke her leg.
Yeah, super impressive.
Well, maybe they had to stall for a while, I would guess.
Yeah. So, the two main characters here, have you seen them much in anything else? D.B. Sweeney and Mariah Kelly?
Yeah, she was in One Tree Hill.
Oh, she was?
After.
Okay.
She was old mom at that point in One Tree Hill, but she was in One Tree Hill. I don't know. I'd have to look up, but I always recognize her as being in stuff. And he ended up being in a couple things, but he kind of plays just a side character usually, or in smaller bits. So,
yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, they're both acting a lot. She does a voice on The Lion King. I did see that, and then she was on The West Wing at the very beginning for a little bit, and they actually kind of wrote her off the show.
He's just kind of known for just that, though. I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff, and lots of stuff like you and I watched Mick. He was on just a random side episode.
Oh, okay. But. Yeah. So yeah, I thought they did brilliant casting here, and even like they're both this. Don't mean to mean when I say this, but I think they're both attractive people, but they also seem very realistic people. I felt like these were the type of people that you would run into on the street.
Yeah.
Like you can
yeah,
see him
sure.
as a struggling hockey player, and you can see her as someone who has grown up with, what do they call it? A golden...
A privilege? Oh, I don't know. A golden what? Throne?
There's
That's a
no,
toilet.
like there's a golden something. I feel
Spoon,
like
a golden spoon.
a golden spoon,
Silver spoon.
silver spoon.
There you go.
That's good. But the gold Olympics, that was
Sure.
like,
Maybe they only won silver. We don't know because they didn't tell us.
yeah, did you recognize Terry O'Quinn, her dad, in this
Yeah.
movie? Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
yeah. It totally. We weren't like huge Lost fans, but I know a lot of fans of that show would
Yeah.
recognize him. So I was really digging the thin, the pencil
And the brother.
mustache.
I recognize the brother too.
You did?
Maybe just because I saw this movie so many
Oh,
times.
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, like a lot of
Didn't
things.
recognize him?
I think like a lot of romantic comedies, it probably suffer. This one suffers when we're not with the main characters and with them together. And so I thought, in particular, the scenes between him and his brother were really, really bad.
Yeah, they weren't great.
Give me that letter.
Dear Doug, sorry about the eye. Go piss up a rope. Next
Give me
time
that
you're
letter.
in town, give us a call. We'll buy you a ticket. Give me that goddamn letter! What are you gonna do? Are you gonna fight me? Are you gonna fight the world? Are you gonna fight everybody? Well, put me on the list, pal. Come on, let's go.
They were trying to especially now in today's world where they were trying, probably in 92, it was okay to poke fun at going from a hockey player to a ice skater. They really wanted to heighten this image that he was gone from a man to a a girly boy.
Yeah.
And that you wouldn't call anybody that now, and nobody would think
No.
that now.
Yeah.
And everybody would just be like, you just couldn't have played that up. That was just
Yeah.
a timely thing
Yeah.
you could only do back then.
I think their journey is just very realistic in this movie. That's why I really like it. I like how they push each other. They don't do super well, but also I think it seems realistic of how they get in, and I like how they're just not amazing. Yeah.
Well, and I you think he's going to be totally calm, cool, and collected because he has been, and then he arrives in her arena, to skate that first time, and he looks like death and he vomits, and it's like, oh yeah, he's scared out of his mind. But I thought that was good, and it messed him up, and they didn't do very well, and it was like,
Yeah.
that's probably more realistic than them just going out there and winning the whole thing.
Yeah. This is, I don't know if you noticed this, but I love sports, and I've always loved sports logos and stuff like that. Did you notice his jacket and the North Stars logo that he had? No. Okay. I always remembered I grew up liking the Dallas Stars, and then I remember seeing the Mighty Ducks, which is funny enough came out the same year, and Charlie wears a Minnesota Stars jacket or something. I was like, hey, what? But anyway, Dallas got that team from Minnesota, but I thought it was funny that he had that jacket on in this movie too. So there was something about movies in 92, and if you're a hockey fan, I guess you were in Minnesota.
Maybe it was right near the Winter Olympics. We could probably figure that out.
Yeah. One thing I couldn't get out of my mind, especially his character, is how much he skates with jeans on. That has to be so uncomfortable. Did you ever think about that?
Well, yeah. I mean, nowadays anything with jeans on, everybody's like, oh, nobody wears jeans anymore. They're like, those are uncomfortable. I'm just gonna stick in my athleisure or my sweatpants.
So you mentioned it, but how truly frightening is the Pamchenko?
It was terrible. That whole scene. I mean, even leading up to it. Whoever had to be the stunt double, whoever that was that kept having to fall, that was atrocious.
Yeah.
And they show it over and over. That was just, it was scared me to death. Watching it I just think I just go back to being 12 and watching it, but it just scared me so much. I hated it. So anyway, but it's her falling over and over and over, and he doesn't really have to, he has to release her. He does have to fall at the beginning when he's trying to catch her hand and he doesn't know how to use his toe pick.
Yeah.
But
and you have, if people don't know, Whitney has a legit fear of twisting her ankles. So I think just the fact of being held by ankles is
it's a really bad idea. And obviously nobody can actually do that. I do think it makes the rest of Olympics kind of boring. Like, why didn't that real Olympians do the pamchenko.
Yeah.
It's not real.
I didn't know. Did you see this fact? I did have written this down, and you talking about her injury, this makes more sense. But did you know that Maura Kelly was originally cast to play the role of Kit in A League of Their Own?
Oh.
Yeah, but the reason she could not was because of a leg injury. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. So that's kind of another tie back to the movies that we've covered on this podcast. So you mentioned, we cover best quotes here. Toe pick. I mean, that has to be number one. Is there any other lines you always liked repeating?
Well, Douglas Dorsey. That's my favorite. I say that all the time.
Does anybody ever know what you're referencing?
I say it all the time. They used to. Claire in college always did. So yeah, I mean, everybody did, right, Claire? But I don't know. Maybe they don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sure there's a lot of other lines that I love.
There is. I just wrote down that there's just so many zingers from him in this movie. So like one of the characters says, her fiance says, I don't like to see her upset. And then he says, if I was you, I'd invest in blindfolds.
Yeah, there's lots of those. Those were great.
And then he says to her, there's only two things I do really well, sweetheart, and skating's the other one.
Yeah.
Just classic. I can't imagine ever saying that in real life to somebody, but, I guess.
Not with a straight face.
Not with a straight face, yeah. And then I'm sure we'll talk about the end a little bit, but just at the very end.
You didn't have to.
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because I love her.
Just remember who said it first.
Just remember who said it first.
Yeah.
I like, that's just perfect how, sticking with character and just, calling back and just making sure that he had a one up on her still. Yeah. So I think that's funny.
I always liked with their button because she would just get fixated on that button. And he just wasn't going to button it back up and she wouldn't let it go. I mean, they were about to go on a national stage, TV cameras on them. And she just was not going to let that go. And neither was he, I guess. I mean, so he could have quickly buttoned it, but nope, it wasn't going to happen. And I thought that was pretty true to character the whole movie.
Yeah, pretty funny too, her line when they're doing the press conference with all the teams and the quip she says to the reporter being, I was wondering if you pick it up on orgasmic.
Oh, yeah. I was going to make you say it.
No, I was trying to get you to say it. Okay, favorite scenes for you?
I like a lot of the scenes. I really like I always like a music montage. So when they're in the middle of the movie, when they're deciding to work together and they're both racing each other to get ready all the time and who makes it to the, what do you call a rink out? The rink. I guess who makes it to the rink first. And that they just keep that up. And I like that whole set of scenes. But then I really like the Christmas morning scene where they do the book and kind of realize they're both friends and she was brought a gift to him, but then when he had a gift for her, she was real excited and I thought that was cool. But I like the Olympics. I mean, I like the end dramatic scene too.
Yeah. Like you, I written down. I just think there's great montages in this movie. They're not just there, but they're also building the characters. And so even though they're more so probably getting there early to one up the other person, it builds onto the fact of them getting better as a figure skating couple just because they're putting in that extra effort. I had written down just the scene where he challenges her to hockey. I thought that was really good. And then the sequence to the puck to the nose, and then the kind of, I thought it was a clever turn how they're in the hospital and you see the gurney, but then it ends up it's not him and stuff like that. And then,
I love the bar scene too, where she's never had a drink.
Oh, yeah.
I just think her faces are really good, and I always remember, it must be because it's to the music, but the way that her head, she takes a shot and her head tilts to the dance floor, and he's real excited at first, but then it keeps happening, and he's exhausted and I don't want to do this anymore, and I thought that was really funny because it was kind of their roles reversed, kind of.
Yeah. And then also, you kind of mentioned it, but the whole scene, their very first competition, and how he gets sick and so nervous. That's pretty funny.
Movie musings.
Speaking of throwing up, have you ever been so nervous that you threw up?
I don't think that's a nerve that I got of throwing up because I'm nervous. My mouth would go dry.
Yeah.
And I had never really experienced that till I gave a speech or something at school that I had to give, and my mouth was so dry it's like I couldn't go on. And so I learned I needed to take some water up there. I never knew why people asked if you wanted water. I was like, what? Why can't people make it through a 1-minute speech without some water? But no, I've never thrown up. Have you?
No, not from nervousness. I've had the pit in my stomach before. Have you had that feeling before?
Yeah. I mean, I've been nervous, made me like that, or butterfliesy type, but not to actually throw up.
Yeah. What would you do to calm down when you got nervous like that?
I think just do it. Go out and just practice it and do it. But a good family friend told me once, to go and overly dramatic speak something, in the mirror, to say it really loud and, to say it really, really dramatic and, almost just slow and just overemphasize every single thing. And then you would do it well. And so I would always practice it like that, and then I would be fine.
Huh. That's good advice.
Yeah. Y'all are welcome out there.
Okay. Winter or Summer Olympics?
I probably, only because of the cutting edge, I would say Winter Olympics.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think...
I like the skiing. I don't know. I love the gymnastics. I love aspects of each of them.
But. Yeah. I think watching the swimming competitions in the summer have really up the game, a little bit.
I like both of them, I guess.
Yeah. So going off that, what's your favorite Olympic sport to watch?
Sadly, probably not ice skating. It's probably not my favorite. Probably gymnastics. But I don't know. Right. I like all of them in little spurts. I like them to tell me the quick story. I want to see why it's important and then watch it. Yeah.
I'm just going to give a quick shout out to our sister-in-law, Debbie, who I know loves the Olympics. I mean, she is all in. I think she watches everything. I don't know how she does that.
I don't either.
Okay. I'm setting you up here a little bit, but are you good at ice skating?
I am better than you.
Why is that?
I didn't even think about this story.
You did not think about this?
Nathan does not like things that you have to balance with. He does not like ice skating, but he also never told me that. And so we were dating, and we went with a couple friend out to go on. It was a third date?
Yeah, it was pretty early on. It was
the first time he'd ever met these friends, and they are highly athletic and went out. And I never even knew they could ice skate, but they got out on the ice skating rink and were doing the Pamchenko. Well, they were doing twists and turns.
And I want to front it with we haven't been in forever. I don't know how good we're going to be.
No. Nathan gets out there, and he never once told me he's scared, but he gets out there one little skate, and he falls straight to the ground. And he looks up at me, and I'm like, oh, okay. So then I go out, and I've had to take field trips of kids ice skating, so I'm not any good, but I'm I've seen people fall. I know I'm not going to fall. I'm going to stay on the edge or whatever. And so then he gets up and he falls again, just flat on his back. And I'm like, we're getting off of here. And we also had no money. It was our third date. We were not just poor and young and whatever. And so we had paid $20 each to skate, right? With the skates.
Yeah.
So we walked off, and they had sold out and they weren't letting somebody else on. So I tried to sell our skates back to I think we did. Didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We got to sell them back, which I also think made you like me, because you would never have asked somebody to to buy that back from you, but you didn't have any money. But we went upstairs and got ice cream or something to drink or eat and watched them skate. And they were down there doing twists and turns and plies and we just waved at them and your face was but your mom told me when we went and met her the first time, she said, that ice skating story is how I knew that you guys would be together, because you didn't make him finish ice skating. You let him off the hook.
That's funny. Yeah. I didn't know she said, I did always say that was definitely one like one of the reasons I knew that I really liked you, because you really did not care at all. And
I didn't really want to ice skate either, probably.
yeah, but like I changed so much of my mental makeup, and I probably at that time was still like felt I was in this macho type of, like, yeah, you don't give up, you don't do all these things, and that one, that you didn't care, but also just eased into the evening and still having a good time and stuff like that. So I was like, oh God, it's kind of one of those where I was like, oh, I can be a little bit more myself around her than I thought.
Oh, so sweet. Our own romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Rom-com rankings.
So the first category is the romantic chemistry between the leads. What do you give it? 5 hearts being the highest, 1 heart being the lowest.
All right, so I do think that they have really good chemistry. So I am going to give them a 4.5.
4.5. Okay,
Yeah.
Very nice. I gave them a 5 hearts.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to get in trouble for being too high. I seem to get in trouble.
No, I think it's hard to find an argument why these two shouldn't be together.
Yeah, I mean, I should see it, but
Yeah.
I
Better than her and Hal. Is that what his name
Hale.
was? Hale.
Hale. Hal.
Hal.
It's Hale, like a good Oklahoman. Hale.
Oh, Hale.
Yes, fine. I'll give him 5. I'll take 5. I'll take 5.
Is there a tiny bit of you that kind of felt bad for him?
For Hale?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, no, they were just pretty similar. Now, those two, I think, were very similar.
Yes.
Like, just a success-driven.
Yeah.
I mean, he was only with her for the money of the man. I mean,
Yeah.
of her, his degree or whatever. So, but I just thought that their chemistry the whole time was always good. They had good, like, facial expressions when each other talked, and I thought they did really well together.
Yeah. It kind of made me think about that dynamic, how it would be strange to, like, if you had a partner and then they had another partner that was so intimate with each other.
Yeah. I always think about that when they're, like, either leads in movies or
Yes.
People that always just get along, like, in that regard. I think that's kind of funny. Like
Yeah.
a work wife
Yeah.
of sorts.
Yeah. It's almost like I can see how someone could work through, like, if there was a scene in a movie, but I more so think about the, like, Broadway plays or, like, day in, like, day out. Yeah.
Rehearsals, all that stuff, yeah.
Or you're just so wrapped in that world, it's just, you can totally separate, like, here's my character and then here's,
Yeah, probably. But also just, like, work in general. I mean, maybe you don't cross those physical boundaries like they're having to do to, like, lift and carry and do all of that stuff. But I do think that, like, especially in the work that we do, we talk all the time about that by the time you travel with somebody, you're far more, like, not intimate in, like, that type of way, but you're far more, like, cross those boundary lines. Like,
right.
you can talk about weird things, you have all the moods, you do all the things.
Yeah. Well, go back to the chemistry. Yeah, I love their banter. I think the two of them together make a greater whole than individually.
For sure.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have made if the two of them didn't have that good chemistry, the movie would have tanked.
Yeah. So the second category. So what was your final?
I'll go with 5 if you make me. I thought I'd get in trouble. You run a tight ship around here.
You're so worried about how I felt about this movie.
I am. I could barely. My heart couldn't take it.
The second category is the best friend. So
I don't think they have a best friend. Do
well,
they?
they don't really so much in this movie, but I kind of thought that maybe Anton Pamchenko, the coach, played by Roy.
He has to act as their friend because she doesn't have any friends.
Right, yeah. So I kind of saw him in that role. He's kind of the supporting character that gets them along, you know. So
when you're ranking that, are you ranking the way they write the character? Are you ranking just him in general? Are you ranking their, like, chemistry?
I kind of think.
What am I ranking here?
For me, I'll go ahead and give you mine. I gave him 3.5. So
Okay.
I think he's very memorable.
Yes.
But he's not trying to steal the spotlight from the two.
Okay.
And especially as a catalyst in this movie, he gets the two together and to work. But also, I mean, you repeat his lines all the time.
Yeah, he's
you
my
know?
favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I think for this movie, he's not the most memorable character ever,
Yeah,
but
for
I
sure.
think he's really good. And I think you also buy that he is this coach because it's very much like practice. Like I know in
Yeah.
gymnastics, there used to be that guy, like they always have foreign coaches on like American teams. It
Yeah.
always seems kind of odd, but yeah.
I'll give him a 3.
Okay.
I always liked him. He was always one of my favorite parts of the movie. He is kind of hard to understand at different times, I think on purpose, but even more so than like a normal character might be.
Yeah.
But I do quote his lines all the time, so I like him.
All right. The third category is the soundtrack. So
I did listen to it.
You did.
You sent it to me. I did. I will say I listened to it kind of quick.
Yeah.
Like I
That's
just
fair
flipped
enough.
through them.
Yeah.
I sang as we rewatched it. I sang all the songs, even if they weren't songs that I've ever heard in anything else.
There's a song Loretta, O mio bababino caro. I don't know how you say it, but this is like opera song going
That's
on.
the one you thought was funny?
Well, I thought it was funny because it comes on in the movie. Hallie watched this with us, and then we hear Whitney singing all the words perfectly along with it.
Well-
And Hallie and I both just looked at you like, what?
Listen, I'm telling you, this movie was very impactful on my life. You know, maybe you kind of look like the guy, the lead.
Oh.
Maybe you kind of look like D.B. Sweeney with your brown curly hair. Maybe you should be thanking him.
You should give me a Chicago Blackhawks jersey.
I should.
Yeah.
An ice skating jersey is exactly what you need. Ice skating, a hockey jersey.
Yeah, hockey jersey. That's funny. Yeah. So, I before you give your ranking, this soundtrack is very much. I mean, it's like, Hallie, do you want to hear what was going on in 1992? I mean, some of these songs, although not very good, I mean, just are so symbolic of the time. It was that weird time of where the music coming out of the 80s was trying to figure out what it'd be, and 92 is about the time Nirvana hit the scene. So I'm guessing this movie, this soundtrack was definitely right before that time. And so, yeah, I personally gave it 2.5. I was actually a little surprised by some of the songs in there that I knew and liked. So like, definitely "It Ain't Over Till It's Over" by Lenny Kravitz is a classic. It's in there. "Love Shack's" in there. Also, Chris Isaak's song, which strangely enough, my parents had that album. It's the famously "The Wicked Games" song. It's from his album. Do you remember that song at all?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know things by title, but yes.
Yeah.
I only know things by the sound and the beat
It-
and how it makes me feel.
Wicked Games was very much a song, even though I was younger and had really no idea how sex worked. Hearing that song, I was like, this is a song that people have sex to.
Okay. I am a little disappointed in your score. I'll give it a 4. Because, and here's why.
Are you
Because
sure you listened to it
yes,
all?
because everything you just said about how it epitomizes the 90s time frame.
Yeah.
All of it almost takes on a score-like mentality because they use a lot of just the beats of the music. Like, I don't want to say them because I'm going to get it all wrong, but there's the whole scenes where they're like doing the montages all have these beats of music that I like sing out loud that are just me. I'm not even beatboxing, that is the wrong words, but like humming the music. Groove Master, I was all in. Now, I will say when you made me listen to it, Ride on Time, I always thought it just said Right on Time. I had no idea that was Ride on Time. But I liked it. I was all in. I even would listen to it now.
You would listen to the
Joe
soundtrack
Cocker
again?
at the end singing
Okay.
Feels Like Forever.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If the music doesn't help make the movie, like, no soundtracks do that now. This was an old thing for soundtracks to be so on point. Probably because songs cost less back then than
Yeah.
they do now. But those were on point. So I think you need to reevaluate your score.
Okay. Well, I just didn't find myself that I would like listen to this.
You're not going to
soundtrack
sit
again.
and listen. Well, yeah, duh. But does it make the movie? That doesn't mean you have to sit and listen to the soundtrack. That's not what the ranking's about. But does it make the movie?
The chase scene or the declaration of love. What do you give this category?
I give it a 4. I really love the end scene where they were fighting before they went in there. And then I loved that. I felt you could feel the drama of them on the ice and them being lackluster the day before. You felt that when they were fighting, and then you feel it. I could feel all of it. So I give it a 4.
Okay. I might surprise you again. I gave it 5 hearts.
Oh, well, shocker.
I promise I'm not trying to suck up to Whitney here, but I think it's
No, what do you want later?
and I think it's great. I just love how, I mean, it's obviously the climactic end. They have to like nail this performance. I like that he, just spills his heart on her. And then I just like how she just true to her character just says, okay, we're going to do the Pimchenko, and just goes out. Doesn't give him the diligence,
Doesn't even tell him she loves him too. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, right. And they perform, they knock it out of the park. And then that banter that I mentioned earlier.
She risked her entire life, mind you, because she's going to swing through the air over the ice.
I wonder how much time had been from when they decided not to do it till then.
They'd never done it. It was a true miracle on ice right there.
Yeah. But then she says it to him, but then he ones up her by saying, remember who said it first.
Sounds like you really like this movie.
We'll get into that. But I do like, even though I talked about the empty metal case earlier, I do think it ends perfectly. Not, it's the movie's not about if they actually won gold.
Right, it's if their hearts are full.
It's if they won each other. Yeah. So anyway, I might have a higher ranking of this movie than you do.
I was thinking I wasn't allowed to. I was trying to get approval here.
Okay, last one. Rewatchability. What is this?
I definitely think it's rewatchable. It's hard to rewatch it. I need them to put it on streaming so it has a higher quality than we had an old copy that was not very well. So it almost looked faded at times in the background. So that made it difficult. So I don't know exactly how I should rank it based on just like the video editing of like the video quality of it made it hard to rewatch. But as far as like enjoying myself watching it and would I turn it on and watch it? Yes. So I'm going to give it a 4.5. Oh, okay.
I gave it 4. So I think
I wanted to come up just a little bit ahead.
How dare me have something over Whitney?
Nope.
So I just kind of gear this as I don't know if this is. If I took a group of rom-coms, this is like the first one I'd pop in, but definitely if we were at a hotel and it was on TV, we would probably sit down and get caught
we'd
up
have
into
to
it.
watch to the end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so like overall, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because I will say I was a little surprised by myself how some of my
I was surprised
rankings.
it was on the list.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be on my personal list, but do I think that it would be on everybody's? No, because it was from so long ago, and it is kind of cheesy, but
yeah. Yeah. So like as a movie as a whole, I think you can read my review on moviesyourlife.com about it. So it's not a 5-star movie for me. I mean, I think there's lots of elements, cheesiness, the way it's made, all that sort of stuff.
It's not going to win an Oscar.
No, but like from a rom-coms, standard, it's pretty good because I think it's got that element, but it is a truly funny movie, which I think is surprising if you give it a shot.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, do you have any final thoughts about this movie?
I think everybody should watch it. I think that they will also be singing along with it and then tell you that your score should go up there. I mean, we let our kids watch a little bit more than most people, so for parent guide, but I don't think even when I saw it when I was 12, I think if you have a preteen or teen, I think they would enjoy it and find the banter funny. And
This is rated PG, and there's a couple. There's some language here there.
Alluding to sex a couple times.
Yeah. I mean, the word orgasmic is used, so
sure.
That's twice now that I've said it on this podcast.
What was that? What'd you say? Just remember who said it first.
Okay.
Recommendations.
I'm going to say we probably have a joint recommendation.
Oh, I was about to say, if you take mine, I'm going to be really upset. We can do it together?
Yeah, are you fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you take the ball here.
Everybody must go right this moment to Amazon Prime.
Yes.
And watch Jury Duty. It's the greatest show I've maybe seen all year.
You want to give a setup to it?
Sure. Basically, it's everybody's showing up for jury duty and to do jury duty. They were told that they were going to be on a documentary about a jury duty, and that's what they kind of signed off on. However, everyone in it is an actor except for this one person in it. And so the couple of things that very first when we started that I just had to know and understand was, and they tell you this at the episode, so, but that was that everybody did sign off that they could be taped and on a documentary. So it made sense that there were cameras around and that they did interviews, but it's kind of an Office style, or it is by the people that did The Office, right?
Yeah. I think one of the creators. But
James Marsden is in it because he was, if you could see my air fingers quotes, that he was called to jury duty as well.
He plays himself.
Yeah, and loved seeing James Marsden in it. And he's playing himself, but like a heightened version of himself. And so basically everybody in it is having to improv and go off the cuff for however this one guy that his name's Ronald that was not a actor. He doesn't know, and he just added in his own lines all the time. And to watch the hilarity that just flows out of it is great. And I truly believed he didn't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And like a lot of these shows, I was talking to Whitney about, like, I remember watching the Joe Schmo show. I think this one is a lot more, it's not so much, hey, gotcha type of show, but it really is, you can tell that they're kind of exploring actually how would somebody react in these scenarios. And I just want to say the end completely pays off. And I thought the last episode in particular was really fascinating. It's a kind of a new concept that I haven't seen a show like this do before. I could watch a whole other
wrap up. I could watch a whole other 8 seasons about how they did it.
Yeah.
It was intriguing.
I was a little sad because they're all 30-minute episodes. There's 8 of them. And I was a little sad, like, the last one, I just loved so much of what was going on. When I clicked on it and saw that it was also 30 minutes, I was like, oh man, I thought this one would be longer or whatever like that. So
that's saying a lot because Nathan never likes long TV shows.
That's true. So,
but I love it so much. And James Marsden, I think we've already told this story on a different episode, but he went to my high school. And so I know him personally, apparently. And Hallie thinks that he did come to our house some, thanks to my brother.
Yeah.
So, I will just say that made it even more fun. If you're from Oklahoma, you'll probably like it because James Marsden's in it.
Do you think that he would remember you if you like didn't do the whole fangirl thing?
He'd remember my brother. I was 6 years younger. So
yeah. Okay.
So
yeah. Anyway, I'm a fan of a lot of the stuff that he does, and so he just
you want to call him? I'll have Jeff send you. I'll have Jeff call him up for you.
What he does here, he totally
it's hilarious.
He takes it to a whole nother level. It's really fun. So that's our very very high recommendation. I always do a top 10 at the end of the list, and I'm pretty sure that will be penciled in somewhere.
Yeah, it was great.
So high praise there.
Must go see it.
Yeah.
Or watch it.
So, well, the next film that we're going to cover is not the most timely movie to watch because most people watch it during Christmas. In fact, I think we did with Hallie, but we're going to discuss The Holiday, which is number 16 on the list.
I'm surprised you're not saving it for Christmas.
Well, sometimes I got to secure my guests when I secure them.
Christmas in July,
Yeah, Well,
Christmas in April?
It's set, in outside of London and LA. LA is, typically not known as the most snowy place during Christmas. So it kind of fits, like.
Sure, yeah. Loosely.
Loosely. So any quick thoughts on The Holiday?
I love The Holiday.
Yeah.
That's my quick thought.
There you go. As always, check out moviesarealife.com for episodes.
Do you enjoy having me on this?
Yes, I love it. For episodes, reviews, and more. Also, if you're listening to this right now and you really enjoy the podcast, I want you to stop and think of one person that you think would enjoy this episode and share it with them as soon as the episode's over. So whether you call or text, it'll just take a couple of seconds. And I think this will really help in growing our audience. So have you thought of somebody, Whitney? Somebody in your head?
I've told everybody I know. But yes, I'll think of somebody. I'll call James Marsden.
There you go. As always, Whitney, this was a pleasure to watch this movie with you and record this episode with you as well.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was great.
Good. Well, thanks again to everybody for listening. And always remember, toe pick.
Toe pick. Douglas Dorsey. Douglas.